first.
Oh, I'm super happy to have you. I've been just very looking forward to this all week. I was a huge fan of your album, The Golden Age of
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
and I actually I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. I have this series that I do here on campus called Is This Where You Want to Be, where I
Uh-huh.
take a look at people's lives and what they've got going on and what they're doing. Like I'm not going to try and, be your therapist, but just I want to see, what you're going through right now, especially with the band.
Okay.
So,
All right.
first initial question would be, what got Partybaby started?
Party Baby got started based out of kind of being really tired with where we were at in our lives as trying to be musicians. Jamie and I were both in touring bands for years before we started Party Baby. And I think we had gotten to a place where we realized, we had had a bunch of success, or what we thought was success, and we're having a great time and seeing the world. And there was a piece missing. And that's a bit of a strange thing to grapple with, because you don't know what it is, and it's scary. But we decided to kind of leave our projects at the same time and landed back in LA. And through just kind of reconnecting and talking about our lives and where we were, and if we were going to make music anymore, and if we were, what was it going to sound like, and all of that. Kind of through those conversations, Party Baby just kind of started kind of coming up, and
Yeah.
it wasn't initially a band, and it was just kind of songs that we were kicking around, and kind of over time it morphed into, well, like maybe we should do this, and yeah, that was kind of the origins of it.
And speaking of where you were in your life with your music career at the time, at least from what I know, you were actually the guitarist for Portugal the Man
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
couple of years.
In fact, they played in town last night and kept me up till 5 in the morning, so I'm hurting a bit today.
Well, that actually is a question that I wanted to ask. Is that I tweeted at you guys because when you sent a video to WSYC, and I'm sure you sent it to a bunch of other radio stations as well, but you sent a video offering to buy drinks for us when you
Hell
come
yeah,
through.
hell
And
yeah, man.
so I want to ask:
Mean it.
is that typical for touring life for you? Are you the kind of stay out late person, or I mean,
No, I mean, we on tour, honestly, we try and kind of stay right. It's a job. It's not easy. I think when we were younger, we would kind of be out and try and get, you know, live every moment to its like most extreme extent.
mhm.
But I think, first of all, as you get a little bit older, hangovers hurt more. Um, and like we take what we do really seriously. So it's like if me going out and drinking, staying out late means that I'm not going to play as well the next day, then I don't really want to do it,
Right.
you know? And it makes me not feel like I'm doing everything I can for the people that are there and for myself, you know?
Mhm. I'm sure that there are a lot of people who share that sentiment, but at the same time, there is that stereotype of, especially in rock and roll, it's just I don't know,
Well, I mean,
sleep all day, party all night.
yeah, stereotypes exist for a reason. You know what I mean? They're not. I've done it.
Yeah, right.
It's not. And I think it goes kind of hand in hand with, and I'm sure you'll get a chance to talk to more people about it as you keep interviewing people. But like, it goes hand in hand with kind of how lonely touring is.
Hmm.
And I think that the most touring musicians I know can get into trouble that way, because it's like they miss home, they miss their girlfriends, their friends, their families, and it's like, and you're kind of out there like on a pirate ship, just like, well, all right, like, gotta get through another night, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of being lonely on tour, I'm not sure what your relationship was with Portugal the Band, and then I promise this will be my last
Mhm.
question involving them. We'll get into
Oh
Party
yeah,
Baby
yeah,
afterwards. But
all good.
so you were brought in. I'm not sure your relationship. Were you just brought in as a touring guitarist, or did you know any of the members previously?
We shared a manager. I was in a band before I was in Portugal called a short-lived band in Los Angeles called Honey Child, and we had the same manager. And so we went out and did a couple shows with them, opening up, and we got pretty friendly.
Hmm.
Um, and then I when that band kind of dissolved, he knew that I was looking for work and put me out on the road with them as a guitar tech.
Oh, okay.
And a couple of days before the first show of that tour, John, the singer, called me and asked me if I would bring a guitar and an amp because he wanted me to play one song with them a night, like to walk on and kind of help fill out this one song they were planning on playing. And that kind of morphed throughout the course of, I think the tour was like, it was like a 7-week run through North America. By the end of it, I was playing pretty much the whole set, and it kind of just organically grew from there. So I was brought on in that sense, but then we made Evil Friends after that together, and then toured Evil Friends, and then I left.
Okay.
And that was about 3.5, 4 years.
And going off the lonely question that brought us into, did touring with them, did you sort of have that lonely feeling, or do you think it's more lonely?
Yeah,
just
absolutely, man.
Right.
I had been in a 7-year relationship leading up to it, and I think me being gone as much as we were, there were some years we were gone for 10 months out of the year in there, and it was like that's a very difficult strain to put on a relationship, especially because the girl that I was seeing was starting to become, have her own success, and she was an actress, and it was taking her away, and it was really hard for us. So, and I was, I joined when I was 20 years old, so it was like, it was a lot to grapple with, and like and it was also exciting, and I was seeing the world, and it was like, there were the highest highs, and then there were moments, like where it was like, wow, like, I don't know, what's life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I would absolutely say there were moments in there that were super, super lonely.
Transitioning into Partybaby, I think the best way to start. Well, I was just wondering, what are the old and current inspirations that go into music? Because I mean, I'm sure growing up you have inspirations, and then there's also stuff that you pick up along the way. So, just what are any bands that currently are inspiring you in your music today?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I get inspired by all sorts of things. The Frank Ocean record that came out a couple months ago inspired me into one of the more intense creative streaks I've had in years.
Really? That's actually surprising to me.
Yeah, that was like, that really shook me up in a really great way. And I owe him, many, many thanks for the amount of songs that it pulled out of me. But I don't know. We listen to all sorts of stuff. I've been listening to this. Do you know the radio station in Australia called Triple J?
No, I've never heard of that one.
Anyway, it's like an alternative station, and they do these, they're called Like a Version, and it's basically acoustic in studio covers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and this band, the DMAs, did a cover that came out actually yesterday of Cher's Believe. Like, do you believe after love?
Yeah.
And it is the single greatest vocal performance I've ever seen in it gives me, I've been listening to it nonstop. We listen to all manner of things. I would have to kind of look at, we saw the Oasis documentary 2 nights ago too, and that was tremendously inspiring.
All right. And now I want to, because you guys have on the album, you have a song called California Dreams.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to get, because you're a California-based band,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm wondering, I think it would be a really good question for the interview, what, in your opinion, are California Dreams?
To me, California in that song in particular kind of stand to this sense of kind of like wanting to blow your life up and just go chase a dream. It could be anywhere. California has this kind of iconic go to travel to the ocean to kind of free yourself type of thing. And the song chronicles the story of Jamie graduating college and, selling his TV and throwing his life into the back of his car and just driving to LA. So it's like, it was quite literally about just chasing, your freedom and your dream. And I think in a bit of a broader sense, the song has this kind of melancholic feeling of like, you have to leave people behind when you do that. And the song is a conversation between a girl that he was seeing at the time, and that he called after he had already left to tell her that he was going.
Mm.
So it has the, it's like on one hand it was this kind of like running out to go chase your dream, and then and then there's people left behind, and you know that's a dichotomy.
Right. Okay. That makes sense, and that certainly comes through in the song. I just wanted to get like, it's always better when you hear it straight from the artist's mouth, like what the meaning method behind the madness is.
Sure, yeah, of course, man.
And so another thing with Partybaby is you guys released your debut album under the Warner Brothers label,
Yeah, we did.
which is to me, I think, pretty awesome that a label as big as Warner Brothers is coming. How did you guys manage to get hooked up with them? Was it your past experience that managed to bring you to them, or did you just manage?
No, this is actually a really funny story about how our band got signed. We Jamie and I have a studio here in Los Angeles that we built,
Mhm.
that we make all of our music in, and we were working on these songs, and still there wasn't a name for the band. There wasn't anything. It wasn't like, and we were just making these songs. And a friend of ours came by one night to hang out and just, whatever, dropped in, and he had just started working at a record label, and he had gone. It was a big record label. I can't exactly say which one it is.
That's totally fine. Yeah.
But he basically, when we were outside, we were taking a break. Jamie and I were outside talking about something. He burned unfinished demos or versions of these songs that we were working on onto a CD and didn't tell us, and took them to his boss, who freaked and like came to the studio the next day. And once that happens in the music industry, it kind of it can turn into people just start talking about it. And if you don't know what if you hear there's these kids, have the studio on Melrose and they have these songs, and it's like, well, why does he know about it and we don't know about it? So all of a sudden we started getting all these calls, but we weren't willing to send our music out to anyone because it was unfinished, and we were quite like upset about it. And it was amazing that what was happening, but it was like, you always want to kind of play people finished music and all that.
Yeah, you don't want to give
And
them your demo for sure.
yeah, exactly. And so people flew into our studio on Melrose, and for a couple weeks we met with tons of people, and at the end of the day, Warner Brothers were the people that we got along with best. They're California based, and it all just seemed right, and we got on, and yeah, that was that.
That's kind of, I think, maybe the definition of both a pleasant surprise and an unpleasant surprise, because, I mean, the guy took the tracks from behind your back and started promoting them, which, granted, that's how you got where you are now, but it's very weird that because he did something that, I mean, I don't know if you could even call it ethical, but it got you
Right.
guys, it got you guys where you are right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's still my boy. It's all good. But
I think almost ironically after that, he would be even more your boy.
yeah, totally.
um,
So yeah, that's the story of how that happened. And
that's crazy.
It was wild. It was a wild couple weeks.
So this is one question that I try to ask everybody, whatever they're doing, be it music or journalists, whoever I interview, whatever they're passionate about. I say, if you weren't making music or if you weren't involved in the music industry, what would you be doing?
I would be chef. I'd be cooking.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
What kind of restaurant are we looking at here?
I don't know. That's hard. It's always really. I think about this all the time. What kind of restaurant I'd want to open, because I kind of want to still do it at some point in my life. But I think I would probably say it would be really cozy Italian, because my family's Italian.
Okay.
And my grandmother taught me how to cook. It's like growing up, Sunday being her kind of helper, Sunday dinners. So I would probably do, something like that.
I actually find that crazy because my first dream job was being a chef, and I was
No way,
gonna
really?
I was gonna open up a seafood restaurant. That was my passion back then.
That's awesome, man.
For whatever reason, I've never tried a seafood I don't like. I'm waiting for the day.
Wow, I'm with you. I didn't used to like uni, sea urchin, but now I do.
I've never had it, so I'm waiting. I'm kind of.
Right.
It took me until
That's a
college to even
difficult
try
one for
sushi.
people. Right, that's a difficult one for people, but you're gonna have to get back to me on your thoughts on sea urchin.
I will make sure to. I'll tweet at you guys. Don't worry.
Cool.
What is your end goal as a musician? Are you more of a go with the flow type, or are you out there
Wow,
trying to be a Grammy nominee? Best rock album, album of the year, even possibly.
that is a fantastic question. I of course would like to be successful. I think I'm not exactly driven. I'm driven by the whatever it is inside of me that wants to make really good things that make me proud, that make my family proud, that make my friends proud, and um, and affect people who hear it. That is what has driven me my whole life to do this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
The accolades, I've never once in my life thought about what it would be like to win a Grammy. I mean, it'd be cool, but it's not what, like, it's not the end of the tunnel, so to speak, for me. I think a lot of times when you set your sights on things like that, especially in our world, or really in any world, um, you realize once you arrive at that point that it's like, oh, like once we get the Grammy, like we made it, and it's never really like that. And you realize that you've spent this whole time chasing, running towards something. It's like with everything you have, and you haven't enjoyed the ride. You haven't looked around and taken every moment in for what it is. So I try my best to kind of just stay in the moment and focus on creating really beautiful things and making great experiences for people.
Hmm.
I don't know, does that answer the question?
Oh no, it totally answers the question, and it actually brings up an interesting point because I'm not sure if you've heard of the band Highly Suspect.
I haven't.
They just got released, or they just released their debut album last year, and they got nominated for Best Rock Album. They got signed to 300 Entertainment, which is the same label that signed
Oh yeah,
Fetty Wap.
yeah, and
Um,
Young Thug and all that.
yeah, and so they released their debut album, and they immediately got signed for, or they immediately got nominated for Hard Rock Album of the Year, and
Right.
they didn't win. But I've been following them on Twitter and following their actions lately, and their singer has been tweeting very blatantly that he's not very happy with where he is right now. So I find it kind of interesting, the correlation that there is there, how you're saying that you're not exactly striving for the accolades, you're just driven by, making people proud of the work that you put out.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, I want to look back on my life and be proud of it, proud of myself, and I don't think that a bunch of you know a bunch of trophies on a wall would fix anything, would do anything to that for me. I mean, I think it would be about the quality of the work we've made and the quality of the way that I've treated people, the quality of my relationships,
Hmm.
and I think that is really what drives me. And I think that once once you're in music long enough, you realize that things like Grammy nominations and you know are really just kind of, they can kind of be bought, and it's like it's this kind of, bought is a strange word because I don't think there's any exchange of money, but there's just like it's not exactly so clean,
Right. No,
and it kind of,
I understand what you're getting at there for sure.
and yeah, it kind of just ends up, look, if someone wants to nominate me for a Grammy, I will show up. I will have the greatest time in the whole damn world at the
Hmm.
Grammys. I promise you that. Um, but I don't, yeah, I don't know if it's where we're our sights aren't set there.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Two last questions, really, and then I'll let you go. I don't want to keep you for too long. Um,
Oh no, however long you want, man.
but the second question would be, you're going on tour. You had to postpone your tour for right now, correct?
Yeah, there was a terrible accident that the band that we were about to go open up for got in Sydney, and they luckily are okay, but they had to cancel their shows for the rest of the year. So our dates in North America got canceled.
Okay.
We're leaving for the UK in 3 weeks, I believe, to go do a bunch of shows over there, which would be great.
So I guess that kind of leads into my question. Was the second one was going to be, what band would you most look forward to touring with right now?
Oh man, who would I love to tour with?
And it doesn't necessarily just have to be your favorite band. I mean, what do you think? What band do you think would be a good combo with Partybaby?
Right. Um, that's a really good question. I mean, I we've been really lucky to kind of become friends with everyone we've been on tour with.
Hmm.
Um, so we did a couple dates with Swimmers, and then that turned into, well, let's go do a whole tour together. And now we're their like little brothers. You know what I mean? And then we went out with Waves and had a great time.
I imagine
Similarly,
Waves would honestly be the most fun to tour with.
it was fun for sure. Um, and I kind of think that is, people who sound similar to us, if they're not, we're gonna have a great time, and I'm sure it'll be great. It's like we want to. All we're ever interested in doing is like putting on the best show for the people that are there, and it's cool that people are starting to show up for Partybaby shows as they are, and next year we'll be doing a lot more kind of headlining stuff and growing ourselves in that way. But when you're opening up for bands, you just kind of just go out there and try and just win every single person over in a room, and it's
Right.
like we'll do that in front of anyone if they'll have us. You know what I mean?
It is always hard being the opening act too, because you kind of set the tone for the rest of the show.
Yeah,
But
and I think we.
in a way that can always be good, because when I went to go see my favorite band in Philadelphia, the Pixies,
Oh man, great! I
they
love the
had
Pixies.
they had Fiddler open up for them, and
Oh yes,
Fiddler managed to play their entire album in the span of 30 minutes. But
yeah.
at the same time, I absolutely fell in love with the band, and I'm now going to go see them again when they come back in December.
Right. Right. I think they're coming through with our boys Swimmers.
Oh, really? All right. Well, that's going to be an awesome
Yeah,
show then. But
yeah.
yeah, being the opening act sets the tone for the show. But at the same time, your kind of music, unless maybe you end with Overload, your kind of music will set a really good song or a really good tone for the show.
Yeah, we don't end with Overload. I think that would be more of a move for our own headlining shows. But
Right.
um, yeah, no, we have a lot of fun playing live, and the shows are super intense and high energy. And so I think that's a. If I went to see a show, that's who I would want to see open. And we've been doing this for a long time, so we know how to make shows sound good, and we've really put in a lot of work to make these experiences special for people. And it's like that's all you could really ask for a band that you've never heard of before,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
for the most part. You have to assume that most people have never heard of us when you're going out into those rooms. So it's like a handshake, and then just like, we're gonna dance with you for 30 minutes.
that's
And
a
it's like
great way of putting it.
you have to somehow make that work by the end. You have to make them want to come back,
Mhm.
and that's a fun, unique challenge that we take on and talk about often. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. Last question I have for you, and it's always the most interesting one to ask somebody who writes music, is what is your process? Do you do music first, then lyrics, lyrics then music, or is it a combo of both?
It is. I wish that there was a process.
Right.
I wish there was a kind of definitive answer. What I would say I've learned to do best is kind of just stay open, um, in the sense that, like, inspiration, whether it is a lyric, a melody, a chord change, um, any of that can kind of come at any moment.
Hmm.
And if you're not kind of in tune to it or open to it, you'll miss it. If you're like in the kind of in this the hustle of your day, and you're kind of just like jamming from one thing to the next, and kind of just, and to be able to kind of always be creating, especially right now since we're back in LA working on the next record, like, to be, you have to kind of just be open to it and put yourself in a position to catch all of those things as they come in. So, for Jamie and I, that looks different. We start our days very differently. He goes on these like kind of long Spirit Quest runs every morning, listening to the music that we're working on and humming melodies and doing all these things. And I wake up in the morning and go sit and have coffee at a coffee shop and write lyrics and notes in this book that I've been keeping since Golden Age came out for, an hour and a half. And then we meet up and go to the studio. And whether we have an agenda for the day or not, we just put ourselves there. And knowing that, if we're there, then we're going to do work. And whether a song comes or, we edit those drums we needed to edit from a couple months ago, or, it's all just kind of, there's no one helping us. So it's all just leading towards creating. And, sometimes he'll come in with a song, a chorus of something that has a melody and a chord change. Like, it's really great.
Yeah.
And the only thing that is definite about the way that we work is that nothing gets finished without the other person being completely involved in it. You know what I mean? It can start in one of us, but as soon as we feel it's ready and like we've kind of like brought it to life a little bit, then it's like he's the first person who hears it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And vice versa, and then we take it into what we do.
Nice. Well, it's been super. First off, I think you might have actually given me a little bit of an inside scoop there. Are you guys working on a follow-up album already?
Yeah. No, we're well on the way to having it done. I mean, we hope to be putting out a ton of music next year.
Awesome.
And Golden Age was done a long time ago. You know what I mean? We made it before that record deal kind of happened. So It took a long time for it to come out. So we've had a ton of music working.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Your album has been really well received over here at the station. We've been playing it like crazy. I'm certainly a huge fan, and when you guys come through to Pennsylvania, I will try my damnedest to get to a show.
Cool, man. Thank you. It was so nice to talk to you.
Yeah, it was super nice to talk to you as well.
All right, bye.
See ya.